I want to lead on the men's side, ATP side. And look, I don't think for Carlos Alcaraz, he would have been thrilled with his performance in the first major of the season. Obviously, went out to Novak Djokovic. But I felt like he had been somewhat hitting his stride just a few weeks ago. And then you watch him play at Indian Wells, and he looks so comfortable, so confident. And he has stretches on court where he looks unbeatable and unplayable. What do you make of what the number two seed has done so far through the event? And is he still very much the man to beat right now?
I picked him to win the tournament, going in, not just because, like, he plays well there or his game is suited to the conditions, but because of just how confident he looks in, the last, 2 weeks. And it really is thin air, slower courts, kind of the courts. I know they changed the court surface, but the court kind of grabs the top spin. So he can kind of have his way there. And my theory is that the conditions in the court really favor all court players, more than aggressive baseliners or counterpunchers. So Alcaraz being an all court player, really is the man to beat.
Well, just watching that match against Denis Shapovalov, I think it was early first set, and he uncorked a forehand winner at 113 miles per hour. And I
Wow.
just thought it's going to be a long or rather quick day for the Canadian. And just who you see kind of into these quarterfinals, I can't really picture, we're recording this Thursday afternoon. I can't really picture Sarundalo giving him too much trouble. If you're shortlisting maybe other guys who could realistically win this tournament, beyond Alcaraz, which names are you maybe, circling?
You know, I circled on the way home as I was looking through some stats and stuff. I circled Medvedev and I was surprised. But he's gotten his serve back. He shored some things up. He looks really confident and comfortable, despite the fact that this may not be his preferred hard court that he loves. He's handling things really well. So that would be maybe a secondary pick for me.
Yeah, Danila's look good. The conditions have been, I mean, it's already different conditions at Indian Wells, but then you factor in the wind, and I wonder, does that favor? You mentioned all court players. We've seen big success from two lefties who are going to show down actually tonight, and Ben Shelton and Jack Draper. Do you think kind of, playing that heavy lefty ball game, that type of difference, whether it's not necessarily variety, but that kind of different spin trajectory, those elements might help on a court at BNP Paribas Open.
Yes, because I think whatever spin you have is gonna be exaggerated, and, I picked Draper to go to the semifinals, so that may or may not happen. Shelton is just playing so incredibly well. The other thing that, really helps is the big kick serve, and, Ben, what is being sort of said on the men's side of tennis right now is that the kick serve may be kind of going away or going out of vogue, and that a lot of players are adopting a sort of a hybrid kick slice for their second serve or just going slice and maybe going even a little bit faster on their second serve. But that's not the case here. Because of the court surface and the conditions, the big kick really helps. And Alcaraz and Shelton are 2 players that have pretty much tops on tour with their
Y-
with their kick.
Yeah, and look, Shelton is the youngest American to reach the quarterfinals here since Andy Roddick. A little bit surprised maybe that he's the only American still alive.
Yeah, I had Tommy Paul going to the semifinals just based on the match that he had last year against Medvedev, which Medvedev won, but Paul actually hurt his ankle in that match. It was a very close match nonetheless. And I thought that Tommy would maybe figure him out, but that wasn't the case. A very surprising result to me, but that's why I like Medvedev.
Another player maybe trending up, and I feel like his last couple of seasons in particular have been volatile. I haven't written off Holger Rune. He's still so young. Definitely fits the description of all court player.
Yeah.
Um, is he someone who's kind of getting his game back together and piecing things together once again?
I saw him play. I was courtside for the Tsitsipas match, so I got a really good look. I was stunned at how well he's defending, and I mean, I don't know if you saw the tweener that he hit. That was a special point, but it was kind of indicative of what he was doing all match, moving, 10 out of 10 for him. And I could be wrong about this, but it seemed like every time he came forward to volley, he won the point. He
What
didn't
was
come
your
forward a ton, but when he did, it was really effective.
what was your favorite match that you caught live maybe this past week on the men's side?
I liked the Giron Rude match. That was really good because Giron is a California native, and the crowd was really behind him, and he was playing very well, and he played a very disciplined match. He played with margin, but did not hold back at the same time. So I thought it was just that was my favorite, and I had a good seat for that one too.
Yeah, we're into the quarterfinals here, and Carlos Alcaraz trying to three-peat and become the first player to do so since Novak Djokovic would have done back in 2016. And it's almost surprising that it's maybe not surprising that we're seeing more kind of hiccups in ATP events for Djokovic, and he's just 7-4 on the season, loses to Botic van de Zandschulp in 3 sets. Is this I mean, it's kind of the $1,000,000 question right now. Is this just a slump, or is this a sign of aging, decline, and something more?
I hate to say this, but I think it's a sign of aging. And the reason I say that is if you look at Roger and Rafa, they were almost exactly the same age when these things started happening, whether it was motivation or injuries that they never quite healed from. And I said this on another podcast, and I'll try to kind of repeat it in a different way. I think movement is so crucial to success on the ATP tour, and it's been a big piece of what has gotten Novak as far as he has, the greatest ever to play. And I noticed that he's just not, especially in the corners, he's not moving with that signature way that he does. And, I'm not a doctor or whatever, but it could be the meniscus, not the hamstring tear, but the meniscus. Um, so that's something to watch. And of course, motivation, when you get into your late 30s and your kids are growing up and are these little humans that are, people unto themselves that you can talk with and reason with, you want to spend more time with them. And so your motivation naturally shifts. It's a natural human thing. So I do think aging has something to do with it, if I'm being brutally honest.
No, no, I like the honesty, and I predicted at the start of this season, I felt like 2025 could be his final year. And I do think a portion of that beyond the aging, which we're seeing, just based on results, of course, is the fact that he got that Olympic gold medal, and maybe there's something in the back of his mind. It obviously takes a huge extra push at this point to be able to beat the top players and play at that level. Does he really want to tax himself even more now that he's seen his rivals go in Rafa and Roger?
That's a really good point. Nobody can get inside his head except maybe Andy Murray. But uh yes, that is, I mean, if you had achieved everything, pretty much everything that you set out to achieve, and then you're asked to go back and play like a Masters 1000, or something that you've done a million times before, how are you going to feel about that? And as you get older, it takes even more to get to that level where you can compete. So not only do you need the motivation of old, you need even more than you had before. That's just a really tough proposition.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada.
If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.